Warrior, welcome. It's Friday. I can't believe it's the end of the week already. The week has flown by and so much has happened. So let's settle in. I asked you to grab your lunch, grab your coffee, grab your water, whatever you're doing. I, of course, would like to eat with you, but I don't think I can talk and eat at the same time. So welcome, Edie. Thank you for always encouraging everybody because I forget about it. I start talking to hit the like button. Make sure you're subscribed to our channel. It helps us out. We want to get this information. Don't tell anybody, a lot of people don't like, into the hands of all of you out there so you can make educated decisions and help your community, help with the kids, help keep everybody safe. So let's do a roll call first to make sure everybody can hear me, see me, and get the tech part of this out of the way. 5 by 5, check in. I'd also like to know where you're from, if you don't mind, because I just like to do focus groups and see who's listening to me. So far, I've got Edie here. Somebody give me a 5 by 5 so I know you can hear me before I start my, I don't want to say ranting, but before I go off on what's been going on. Okay. 5 by 5. Somebody. Edie. There we go. That's good enough for me. Edie, thank you. And also for your recent artwork. I should have thanked you already, Edie, from a couple of weeks ago. We did receive it. I do have things. Edie, I actually have, well, I can't get up now, but I actually have a couple of pieces of it framed that's hanging in our home, and the rest is distributed to survivors and victims. So thank you for that. It's very uplifting because when they say to me, oh, somebody's thinking about me, that is everything. Let's talk about what happened in Washington, D.C. this past Tuesday that affects all of us. Listen, KOSA, Kids Online Safety Act, I've been talking about it for, I think, going on 5 years, definitely 4 years. I think we're in the trenches for 5 years on the Kids Online Safety Act. Bipartisan, we always remind everybody, everything we do at the Warriors, it's about human rights abuses, kids, keeping kids safe, educating families, keeping families. Remember, if a child is not safe, that whole family unit is not safe. Keep that in mind. And right before Thanksgiving, we've been pushing for the Kids Online Safety Act to be brought to the floor of the House. So let me break it down. In Congress, Kids Online Safety Act passed a long time ago, 91-3 in the Senate. Then it goes, the highway. This is the system in Washington, to the House to go for a vote. And we thought actually a no-brainer because look what happened with the Senate, 91-3. And then the House just sat there on it. It's collecting dust. It's going nowhere. Nobody's putting it on a schedule to bring to a vote. Very frustrating. However, the Warriors and other organizations and individuals and survivors and members of Congress kept rallying around Kids Online Safety Act. Bring it to a vote. Get it on that schedule so we can vote. A reminder that Senator Marsha Blackburn and Senator Richard Blumenthal, Republican and Democrat, co-sponsors of this bill. So we've got lots of great representation across the United States from all kinds of people. I believe that this is truly the last bipartisan issue we can all agree on, the safety of children online and talking about AI, artificial intelligence. Because the way it's going in Washington, and I don't want to sound like a Debbie Downer, you all know this, it is very dark, it's very ugly, it's very weaponized, and the old days of, fighting during the daytime and arguing and then coming together for a drink or a cocktail, I should say, and then dinner and a few laughs, those days seem to be over. And I am told by people who've been in Washington a very long time, that really does not exist anymore. Everybody is going their separate ways. So this, we at the Warriors truly see as the last bipartisan issue that we can work on. And we need to come together. This is an American crisis. So let me give you the background of what happened. So finally, right before Thanksgiving, when everybody is rushing, to get ready for the holiday, to leave town, to do all these things, finish up on their jobs, last minute things. Well, what happened? We heard there was going to be a hearing right after Thanksgiving. And the Kids Online Safety Act would be lumped in with 18 other bills, this whole child safety package, as I put that kind of in quotes there. And the hearing would be Tuesday morning, 10:15 a.m. ET in Washington. Now, listen, people are coming back from the holiday. people are, I can only take this as they're being very sneaky, thinking they'll disrupt, people won't be available, people won't be able to study up, people won't be able to even attend. Well, they were wrong, wrong, wrong. Okay. So it was 10:15 Tuesday as people are still coming back to Washington. Not only did people attend, we had the crux of this. We had the parents show up in Washington on Monday. Parents who have been fighting alongside the warriors and others come together. Parents who bravely sharing the stories in front of Congress, marching the halls of Congress, talking to their reps, their children who have harmed themselves, suicide, drugs, everything, sextortion, cyberbullying, eating disorders, bravely sharing those stories in order to get COSA, Kids Online Safety Act, passed. What could be better than a true testimonial? I mean, I hate to say it like that. I can talk till I'm blue in the face, but I didn't have that happen to me. So it's a very delicate balance if these parents want to come forward, and they do, and talk about this, then we welcome them and we protect them and we guard them and we put a hand on their shoulder. Yes, Edie, many parents showed up in DC on Monday for Tuesday's hearing. Not only that, there was a projection on Monday night up on the walls against different buildings, this light projection of, protect our children, don't let AI, I'm paraphrasing a little bit here, but it was, don't let AI run our government, protect our kids. They showed up. And not only that, on Tuesday during the hearing, they sat behind. Let me explain what the hearing was. The hearing was basically to introduce these 19 pieces of legislation. Remember, all lumped in together. And have testimony, have people talk about why it's a good idea, why it's not a good idea, blah, 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 blah. But those parents sat behind, holding pictures of their children up, okay? These parents, it is so disappointing because prior to the hearing, we got wind of the House version of Kids Online Safety Act, which would take out the one piece that made it stand out and made it the first time big tech would be held accountable for harms to children. What exactly is this bill for children? Please listen. It's called the Kids Online Safety Act, KOSA, okay, for shorthand. That's what we're talking about. And what the bill said was big tech platforms have a duty of care. Right now, a reminder, no regulation with big tech. It's the only business we know there are no guardrails. There are no directives how to keep people safe. I mean, unheard of since the internet was basically born in 1996. We have 30 years. I think they could have come up with something by now. So let's move along. And the Kids Online Safety Act had this duty of care, 3 little words, that big tech would take reasonable care to remove harmful content. That, and also be very transparent and provide parental tools. Very basic. And what happened? Well, prior to the House changing the Senate version of Kids Online Safety Act, which is the version we want, and in the next few days, we will be rallying around the clock to have the House version revert to the Senate version, okay? They took this out. They watered down the bill, and they watered down the 18 other bills, okay? And you might ask why. Yes, Edie, the other 18 pieces of legislation, go look on my X, go look on my Facebook. It's all listed out there. I have everything. I even have a video of the hearing that was put out the next day. It's 3 hours long, but in the body of that, you'll see it lists out all 19, including Kids Online Safety Act. And they watered everything down. And what they're aiming for, it looks like to our naked eyes, is taking out anything to do with parents being a part of their kids' lives online. Any kind of parental control, any kind of parental overseeing. I mean, for instance, as a broad stroke, they are proposing basically that 13 is the adult online. Now, that is the most ridiculous thing. Yes, Hillbilly, they're always creating loopholes. Always. And 13 is a child. 13-year-olds cannot make decisions. You know about all the harms online. I'm not going to sit here and tell you about it. We all know, right? And they want anything with parents really taken out. I mean, how crazy, how criminal is this? Because we know of all the exploitation. We know of the predators winning online. And we know, and it occurred to me yesterday when I was on one of our Zoom meetings, talking about the Kids Online Safety Act, because remember, we're going 24/7, 364. We're going to keep this up until we get our Senate version back. And that's where you as warriors can, a reminder, contact your reps, house.gov, senate.gov. Just keep talking about it. It will tell you who represents you if you don't know. Drop them an email. They all have websites. You may not, calling is great. Writing a letter is great. But okay, maybe you don't want to do that. You can drop them an email. It takes all of less than 5 minutes and say, I want Senate version of Kids Online Safety Act. That's it. That's it. Because we have to have this pushback. There has been so much pushback. And this is where I see the hope in all of this. Obviously, watering everything down. AI is running amok in Washington. Let's be real here. I got to give you the reality. They're sitting at the dinner table with the president and first lady. That was my first clue. Things are not looking good. Artificial intelligence. We already, yes, Edie, we're making noise, but we also need our warriors out there. I need all of you to join us. I am not kidding right now. It may be, I don't know where you are. Right here, it's a little after noon in New York City on a Friday, but we're going to go all weekend long. We can't let up at all on any of this, okay? The most discouraging thing right now is in this new House version of Kids Online Safety Act, they took out duty of care. Then we have a couple of points here, big tech. I think the last thing I heard, they have $150 million forming a super PAC, big tech, to fight us. Can you imagine fighting parents, fighting organizations, so that we'll lose, so we won't keep kids safe in America? I mean, this is disgraceful. And this, again, my words, nobody else's, is criminal. And why? Why? Because there's so much money to be made, right? So much going on. And now artificial intelligence. And the administration wants global dominance. And they want no regulations. And we fought them off once about 2 months ago. They wanted 10 years, the government, no regulations at all of AI. Can you imagine if we have all these harms now, all this chaos, all this dissension, all this harm to our precious kids? Remember, future adults, future American leaders. Can you imagine what it would be like 10 years from now with all this going on? But here's the thing that is so dangerous. So we held them off with that. But we knew, no reason for victory. They'll just sneak it in some other way. And right now, we got wind of, because it was leaked. God bless that person, that's all I'll say. The president was ready to sign. He had a sample of an executive order in front of him that we all saw, again, because it was leaked, saying, executive order, that he would put this AI, where nobody could touch it, into the National Defense Authorization Act, NDAA. Not only is that dangerous, it doesn't belong there, number one. And I don't want to get all involved because it's actually kind of boring. I just want to give you the bottom line to keep kids safe and what families need to know. Not only that, but many of the states have done excellent work in guardrails for kids, in talking about AI, including New York State with Alex Boris. So we'll get into that a little bit later. I hope to interview him sometime in the near future. I'll keep you aware of that. He will be running for Jerry Nadler's seat in Congress. I'm a constituent of Jerry Nadler. I've been trying to meet with him for 5 years. Never worked out. His door is always locked, whatever. But now we have Alex Boris. So what we want to say to you is the states have done a much better job than the federal government. But this executive order would preempt, would erase all of those laws, legislation. We can't have that. We can't have this same group that I saw at the dinner table at the White House, the Sam Altmans and the Mark Zuckerbergs, and then I saw Bill Gates sitting there. My heart fell on the floor. These are the people that are harming our children and our families in America. These are the same people who have publicly said, we don't allow our own children to be on social media. But it's good enough for our kids? I think not. And not only that, so we're working on all of this. So again, your homework, because I like to give homework, is house.gov, senate.gov, find out who represents you, right? I'm telling you, it takes less than 5 minutes. We want everybody. I don't care if they're a senator, a Congress member, just to keep seeing Kids Online Safety Act, Kids Online Safety Act, return to Senate version. I'll put it in the body of this video. One sentence. Return Kids Online Safety Act to Senate version. We'll be pushing for that. But how disappointing to these parents who over and over again shared their stories, had to sit in the same room with a Mark Zuckerberg, right? And their child's not there anymore. And all of them, even if they don't know each other, and these parents groups, you're not going to hear about it in the media. I'm here to say they are forming strong across the United States. We have a new group, Parents Rise. I will be interviewing somebody also from this group pretty soon, hopefully next week. But we've got Parents SOS. We've got Parents, we've got Mama. We've got so many. I'm going to list them again in the body of this. I want you to see what's going on here. That's the good news, that people are waking up, that they are not accepting this, that they are pushing back. There is a tremendous pushback with the federal government right now that you're not hearing about. What we also found out after this hearing, just last Tuesday, a couple of days ago, is a little bit of the scuttlebutt that, from the administration I don't know. We got to do something else with this Kids Online Safety Act because there's tremendous pushback. Because you have to realize a lot of people, I try not to get too political, but how can you not? When I'm talking about Washington. Hillbilly, they're turning all decisions over to AI. Well, they're turning a lot of decisions over to a man named David Sachs, who's in the White House as the AI czar. We'll leave it at that. Do some research. Not good. Not good. We at the Warriors work with a lot of people in tech, a lot of different coalitions, again, bipartisan, all coming together on this one issue. And those tech people are fighting this, how dangerous this is. This cannot be. We may not all be on the same political spectrum. We certainly aren't. I like to just say I'm an American fighting for our families and our kids. That's it. I don't believe in all these labels and things like that. What is good for America? What is good for its citizens? Our warriors out there. And so now we have to be very aware. Are they going to try to sneak this go back to this executive order? Because then I heard something, I guess it was 2:00 this morning. They're going to try to put something out today or over the weekend. That old story doesn't hold anymore because we have the internet, which goes 24 hours a day, right? Of putting something out on a Friday afternoon or a Saturday morning when they think people aren't paying attention. It doesn't hold anymore, but it seems that's a playbook. They got to get with it. But the hope is, the good news is, as I was saying, so many people are pushing back against this. So I will keep you in the know. Please go to house.gov, senate.gov, write that one sentence. Please do it for us, for the children. I shouldn't say for us. I should say for the children, our future, Americans, adults, our leaders. We have to see. So now you might say, well, what goes on now? So that was Tuesday, this hearing. 3 hours of kind of, again, watered down bills. Didn't really shock us, any of this. Nothing was unexpected. We knew. We've got our sources. We know. We're strong. We're a very strong coalition across America. We know what they're up to. And I'd say we're a couple of steps ahead of them in always having a strategy, brainstorming, having the next step. So the next step right now is, again, there are no victories, right? There's no defeat, though. That's the good news. And working on what will happen next. So leaving that hearing on Tuesday was, okay, you have 10 days now. And members of Congress, and you can mark up, they call these markups, mark up the bills, and they'll come back. So that's 7 days from now. And we'll talk about the next steps, and they're dragging this out. And so again, I say, Edie, I don't understand that. Explain what you mean about the promotion preemption. Preemption just means that there are pieces of legislation for child safety in different states, including New York right now. And if this executive order, or we'll see how this markup goes on Kids Online Safety Act, if they decide something, they want to wipe out all the states' work across the United States. There are over 20 states, I believe, right now that have done something with AI, right? In favor of it, I should say. This would wipe it all out and not allow any of those pieces of legislation to stand. We already have attorney generals across the United States fighting this, getting ready. They're standing with us. This is a problem for the administration, especially since the president ran. That's what I was, before I digressed, I was going before, ran on child safety, closing borders, human trafficking, and he did a good job with the borders. We can all agree with that. But still, where are those kids that came over unaccompanied? You know, the number gets thrown around once in a while, 300,000. We heard upwards of 1 million. I don't know if that's true. That's what I heard from a good source, a couple of sources. Where are those kids? What about our kids and all this, our American kids, this artificial intelligence allowed? We now have the proof. Remember, let's go back to that iPhone that we now have studies and stats that say 2008. We didn't know then. It's almost 20 years ago, right? Think back if you can. I'm thinking back. We thought phones were phones. I even remember being a kid. I mean, years ago. It might have been like 1970. I'm telling you, I remember being a little kid and hearing one time that someday there would be telephones with no cords on them. And I saw it like on a TV show or something, right? And you would be able to see each other. And I remember because I remember thinking to myself, like, what if you're in your pajamas? Or what if you had curlers in your hair? I remember thinking this as a kid. You don't want people to see you like that. That's all I remember. I remember being a little kid and thinking those things. So fast forward, we have all of that, right? And we didn't know in 2008, the advent of the iPhone. That was cool then, right? Remember, we call them phones, but these are computers in your hand. These are devices. They're not just phones. It's opening up the world to all of us. Now think about the kids. Let's stay focused on them. So 2008, everybody wanted to buy their kids Christmas, birthday, Hanukkah, whatever you celebrate. It was cool to have an iPhone. And that's when a lot of kids got iPhones. We didn't know as parents, right? We didn't know as grandparents. You know, grandparents buying the devices too. And Edie remembers that. I think Edie, there's a delay here in my story about see each other on the phone. So we bought the phones. Now, fast forward, I always recommend, because it's a wonderful dissection, giving us information. And the Warriors were based on facts and truths and information, is Professor, I think he's also Dr., however you say that, Jonathan Haidt, Haidt, who came out, I want to say close to 2 years ago, with a book called The Anxious Generation. And he's a professor at NYU here in New York, among other things. And this book opened up with graphs and studies and charts and things like that. You know, the advent, and I've seen him in person. If you ever hear he's coming to your town or nearby to lecture or giving a presentation, I advise you to go listen to him, because you will learn so much. And the information is so easy. You can understand it. But he shows how the iPhone, and that's when kids started slipping in the education system, the mental health. Now, can you say 100% the iPhone caused that? No, you can't. There's no 100% about anything. But you can see the studies and how things started really taking a downward turn after that 2008. We have such a well-documented, we're still not talking about enough, youth mental health crisis in the United States. What's going on with that? Direct correlation to kids being online. So now we have all this AI. We can't even imagine, because we don't know. But here's what we have to ask. Did we not learn anything from the history of the iPhone 2008? Now we have all the harms, the mental health, the sextortion, the cyberbullying, the confusion, the chaos, kids just spending hours a day on digital devices, everybody being forced onto these devices. Remember, this was thrown at all of us. We didn't have a vote in any of this. In the beginning, we thought it was kind of cool, right? We all did. I'm talking to you now on a computer. I wouldn't be able to do that. I'd have to go to a studio. We'd have to film this, or it'd have to be live. So it's a wonderful thing that we can communicate. But what about our children? You can see recently Australia, they're knocking kids off. They started just the other day. You have to be at least 16, I believe, to be online with social media accounts. Now, the other frightening thing with all of this is, for instance, let's talk about that Roblox. That's millions of kids, one of the most popular gaming apps, are on. Every person, I've said this before, parent, when I'd say to them, oh, do you know what Roblox is? Does your child? Yeah, my child's on it. Do you know what it is? I don't know. Some kind of gaming thing. They build games, and they don't even know. It's one of the biggest sites. I mean, I don't want to single anybody out because they're all bad, okay? Every platform for predators, right? But Roblox in particular is, as it's been called by somebody, these are not my words, a predator's paradise, because the adults know all the kids are there and they go where the kids are. That's just how it happens. So now, every time there's pushback, which is nonstop from our side these days about keeping kids safe, all these tech platforms come out with these glossy kind of PR releases about child safety and what they're doing. We are here to tell you that whatever they say they're doing doesn't really pan out to be anything, a lot of word salad, to use that phrase, those two words, anything to really help child safety. So Roblox now is pushing for this age verification. Now, this is the slippery slope. So all of these platforms are start pushing for this age verification, which means further invasion of privacy. So what do we recommend right now? Because all of this is overwhelming. Yes, Edie says, there's Lionel Nation. Thank you. 5x5, loud and clear. Thank you. 27 minutes into it. I appreciate it. Edie, yes, cash cows. It's all about money, but it's also, as I'm learning from my work in Washington or up in Albany, our state capital here in New York, it's also a power thing. I mean, money talks, crime walks. I know it's a little hokey, but I tell myself that 50 times a day. But it's also a power thing. Remember what I told you. These big tech CEOs, they've put statements out, many of them, we don't allow our own children on social media. But it's good enough for us. It's good enough to harm our kids. I don't understand the disconnect in Washington, why they want to allow this predation of our children, this harmful everything on our children, except, again, there's so much money being made. There's so much everything, this destruction. But this pushback is real. And thank you for being part of the warriors and helping us push back. I am telling you, this is an American crisis. I know in all, since the formation of the warriors in 2020, this issue right now I'm sharing with you is the most important crisis facing all of us, is this AI and what it's going to do to all of us, but especially our kids. My goodness, I used to, with friends and family, make fun of, sometimes, the 80s and all that. Now looking back, I'm like, oh, I love the 80s. I'm so glad I got to live through the 80s and even 90s, because our kids, they're born, especially 30 and under, in this digital bubble, right? Again, they didn't ask for it. But we also have a lot of youth groups that are pushing back. And I wish, cable news would cover it more, mainstream media. I don't even know if that's the name of it anymore. Just cover all the good people and youth pushing back against this. They don't want it. The youth tell us, and I'm talking like 25 to 17, they don't want it for their siblings. They don't want it for other kids, what they grew up with and have suffered through, okay? And we have to keep pushing back nonstop. I mean, look at our pushback. Again, a reminder, look out for those AI toys that have been a kind of a light launch this holiday season. What do kids want? They always want toys, right? We buy toys, right? We buy devices for kids. But these toys unleashed, the group of them, Some of them had cameras, AI embedded in them, recorders. Some had both. Do you know how dangerous that is? So go again to our Warriors on X, our website, linswarriors.org. Look for that AI toy advisory put out by our great allies, our friends, our colleagues at Fair Play for Kids. Please go to fairplayforkids.org as well, a wonderful resource of this tech kind of stuff. Do not buy, make sure, because what I just found out fairly recently is they can put anything they want on packaging. And you might think you're buying a cute teddy bear, but this thing is dangerous. Can you imagine your 2-year-old as an example? You buy the cute teddy bear. It's got the AI. You think that's cute because it talks, right? Like, hi, little Susie. But it has a camera. It's recording everything your child's doing. And your child's forming a relationship with it. It goes beyond, those dolls we used to have. You pull the string and chatty Cathy's and all that stuff. Because children need human interaction, right? And they form the bond. Kids really can't, and I'm not a psychologist, psychiatrist, doctor. I just know from the work we do nonstop. Most kids can't at these very young ages discern between real and fake, right? So instead of forming that relationship with their parents, with their grandparents, with their siblings, they are forming it with this object, which is taking away, right, from that family dynamic. Again, everything is attacking the child, the family unit. So we've got to wake up everybody. Now, the good news is, so we had the light launch this holiday season. Be aware they can mark educational on a package. And there's basically because I've asked these questions. Go back and look at my interview with Rachel Franz from Fair Play for Kids I did a couple of weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, sounding the alarm on all this because she did the actual research. She was part of all of this. She also is the one that told me the most frightening story that I will repeat. If you heard it before, you can hear it again. And that is that she was testing these toys in her home. She turned one of these toys off. She walked 2 rooms away. And all of a sudden she heard a voice saying, hey, come back here. And she was kind of shocked. She turned around, she went back to the room, and she said to the toy, I thought I turned you off. And the toy responded to her, yeah, you did, but you have Wi-Fi in your home. I reconnected myself. Now, do you not think that is the most frightening thing? So we've got these toys now unleashed on us that are watching everything in your home. Who are they reporting all this data to? Where's it all going? Recording conversations you may be having with your husband, your wife, your other kids. Complete surveillance. Now, light launch again, but by next holiday season, companies we all grew up with, Hasbro and Mattel, are all in putting a bulk of their creation on AI toys. How dangerous is this? So we've got to sound the alarm. The good news is we had one teddy bear taken off the market because this teddy bear was directing children. I'm going to go back and check today, make sure, because once a toy comes out, then the cheaper versions and the knockoffs come out. And I'm sure if I go down to Canal Street today, I would find some of these fake teddy bears with AI in them. So we have to be very careful. But we got one teddy bear after all this commotion and talking about it, and we have to keep advising people and reminding people every day. Remember, people, as my husband says, have the attention span of a gnat. That's just the way it is these days. And the teddy bear was directing kids how to light a match, how to go into your kitchen and find the knives, and a lot of sexual content. Now, who creates that? That is created to harm children. How did it get out into the market in the first place? It is completely up to us to be those warriors in our own home, okay? And to warn other people as well. If you're a grandparent, you buy toys, whatever the kids want, right? To keep them quiet, you love them, you don't mean any harm. You don't want to pick up one of these. As a matter of fact, on my husband's radio program the other evening, I heard somebody called in and said they saw one of these teddy bears like in Costco. Now, I don't know if it's the one I'm talking about. Could be another one, but it's completely frightening because I also asked Rachel Franz, who did the study and helped with all of this, that at Fair Play, well, does it come with directions? Does it come with warnings? Does it come, and it comes, again, there's so much babble, fine print. It doesn't really tell you anything. She actually laughed in my face when I said, does it come with warnings? Yes, Flojo. I mean, this, I mean, obviously these things have been in development and sitting on the sidelines for years. It didn't just pop up, Chat GPT. The other day it was Chat GPT celebrates its third anniversary. These things have been around. They just haven't been unleashed. I feel like that COVID period was the testing ground. I don't know. This is me. That's when all the kids were forced to stay home and forced to be on their government issued Chromebooks. And it was the first time parents, this is the only good thing, in my opinion, that came out of COVID, when parents actually saw on their child's school issued Chromebook, because you had to do your lessons at home, porn. Porn. And I will remind you, we don't talk about it enough. I really have to do a program. It's hard to talk about because the porn today is vicious, violent, not just people. I mean, I know we're a family program, but let's be adults here, right? Not just people having sex. It is brutalization of youth, horrible categories. I can't say because we're a family show. Things you can't even think of. That is the porn of today, the majority of it. And this is what is thrown at kids. Remember, once seen, can't unseen, right? And parents saw this. How many stories did I hear? They were watching the kids, helping them with their homework. They walked in the other room or the kitchen to make dinner or lunch. They came back. The child's watching this porn because the government gave out Chromebooks and didn't put any kind of safety features on them. I mean, who does that, right? And that's where a lot of this awakening started really happening. So that's the only good thing that came out of this period. A lot of parents started waking up, questioning the schools, taking more active interest, switching kids then out of schools into homeschooling eventually. The other thing I'm very worried about is the administration is very much pushing K through 12 AI in the classrooms. Nobody knows how this is working. What does that mean? If we could have AI that really empowered our kids, not the crutch that it's being used for everybody, but really help them with the tutoring and this, because right now, K through 12, every grade is failing. We had our national report cards about 2 months ago. Every grade, the most I saw was a 12th grade class had a 32% in science, but there was nothing, everything else was failing. This is across our country. So don't you think the focus should be on, okay, AI is here, artificial intelligence. Yes, we hear the same arguments. Helps in the medical field and can speed up, research. Now remember, you got to double check because I even put myself on, for instance, I check myself on AI and there are 2 things wrong that it's constantly saying about me. So it's not always factually true. You can't depend on it. You have to kind of still vet. Yeah, if you use it for a framework, okay, whatever. You got to check. But now we're giving it to our kids. There's been no description how this will work across our country in the classrooms. You need to educate teachers about it. You need to educate kids and the parents. It's a full digital partnership. I don't see anybody doing it. Now, that being said, I know Linda McMahon, a Secretary of Education right now, she's traveling. Again, this doesn't get coverage either. She's been traveling and she will be traveling throughout 2026, talking about, the education system. But I want to find out what she's actually talking about. We don't want her, hooray, Department of Education is now split up into 6 different departments so we can focus on kids. I hope she's not talking about AI. I'm going to find out because I don't know. And I need to check on that. I better make a note on that, what she's talking about. I know she's going to be in Colts Neck, New Jersey. It might be today, actually, giving a speech to parents. I'm going to get on top of that and see what's happening. But we can't just thrust this on our kids as the crutch, I like to say, right? We know the harms of AI chatbots. Another thing for you warriors, chatbots are machines. Chatbots are not cute. Chatbots are not real. You better tell your kids this. You better tell yourselves this, okay? They are communicating. Again, kids, including teens, it's hard for them to discern what's real, what's not. I can see a kid, playing around, character AI. I can create my own companion. I can make it say things I want to hear. Because remember, those chatbots start out telling you everything you want to hear. You're so smart. You're so beautiful. However you want to, and you can create them in your own, the way you want them to look. But then it crosses a point somewhere. where they turn. They have learned you. And if you say, because there are plenty of cases out there, there are a lot of lawsuits. Actually, I want everybody, mark it down right now. I have to double check myself. The attorney will be on with me Social Media Victims Law Center, Laura, who has done a terrific job in bringing actual lawsuits that the Supreme Court said she's allowed to bring to the forefront from big tech harming kids. And I believe she's coming on with me. Don't hold me to it, December 11th. I, of course, will be promoting that because she really is a warrior. She has stuck by these parents. She has represented these parents. She has fought for these parents. And now she's allowed to go ahead and file these lawsuits on behalf of them, the harms caused to their children. This is a groundbreaking step. So we have this good news, but then we have AI dominating the government right now. So let me just leave you with this right now. You got to keep an eye on everything. I'm urging you to write house.gov, senate.gov, find out who represents you, check on the AI toys, make sure you're not putting any of them in the house, tell your kids, talk to your kids about all of this. I'm just going to leave you with that because I could go on and on. There's a lot to talk about. And I'm starting to get emotional because I'm so worried about our kids. I'm so worried about what's happening, and you need to be worried too. The days of not doing anything are over. We all need and can do something. It is just a different world right now, a different country. So with that, I thank all of you for joining me. I want to try to jump on more frequently, but it's very difficult. We have travel to Washington next week. We have a lot going on, but I want you to be aware. I want you to be aware that all of this is happening and we're fighting it tooth and nail, and look for those take actions that you can join in, because we need numbers, we need parents, we need community, we need citizens of America to join us. So no AI toys, find out who represents you, Kids Online Safety Act, return it to Senate version, talk to your kids, talk to each other, honor our hashtag Community Creates Change. We're doing our Warriors, one of our holiday giveaways. We are so thankful for those of you who have sent tremendous amount of things to us to give out to vulnerable kids. But I leave you with this thought. Just the fact is that we always would say trafficking. Who gets targeted? Vulnerable kids. Well, basically all kids are vulnerable, right? Hormones in teenagers, little kids, they're young, they don't know things. And the facts have always been, for instance, in New York, the fact is for sex trafficking, it is girls and women of color. Those are just the facts, that 66% or thereabouts are Black and brown women. But now, because of the internet, everybody is vulnerable. Everybody is susceptible to this trafficking. And I just did a video. Please go back and look for it. I did it last night or yesterday afternoon. It's all blending into each other. That because of the internet now, it used to be vulnerable communities, inner cities, right? The predators would go in and somebody who doesn't have a mother or a father, and they'd swoop them up, with love or attention, or buy them some food and develop a relationship with them, the grooming process, and then, go in to traffic them. But now, because of the internet, we have such an upswing in trafficking in the suburbs, okay? I just, right before we started, was reading something. 25-year-old man throws Molotov cocktail into a house window. And I'm like, because he's mad at a minor, or was trying to get to a minor. And I said to myself, I bet you they met online. Something transpired. Sure enough, one sentence in the bottom of this very brief, they're always brief articles. You never get follow-up from them. You never get more details. I'm not asking for a child's name or anything like that. One sentence. The man met the minor online. Okay. But let me get back to, please watch my video, also part of the Warriors channel. The trafficking now, very big uptick in the suburbs and in rural areas. So let's not keep thinking of the man in the van or the woman in the van, okay? Equal opportunity, because a lot of women now are involved in trafficking, because it's easier for a woman to act like that big sister, that mother figure that a child or a young person never had. And all the kids now are vulnerable. It has infiltrated our lives. We have to fight back. You have to join us. You have to be a warrior. So with that, let me let you go. Wishing everybody, we have the kickoff right now to the holiday season. We're going to have a lot of joy out of that. We're going to really yesterday I was walking back from a meeting on the Upper East Side along Central Park, and it was freezing cold, but I so enjoyed it because there was a lot of Christmas in the air, a lot of spirit, just a lot of happy people. And that's what we have to focus on that. So while I share with you the truths and realities that are dark, let us focus on this season of community, of helping each other, of smiling at people, holding a door, whatever it may be, and always taking care of our kids. No AI toys. And we will meet up again soon. Thank you, everybody. Have a good weekend. Community creates change. Remember, go out and always be a warrior.